Welcome, Groovers, to a special episode on the spooky aspects of Halloween superstitions.
Ooh.
That's why we have a sound
ghost.
Yeah, that's why we actually have a sound effects department to take care of that. You
We
don't
have a sound effects department. I did not know that. If I would have known, I would not have done my own ghost impersonation there. But now that you tell me that, I'm like feeling foolish, you know?
Well, here we are, and what we want to talk about are superstitions, and because Halloween is full of all kinds of superstitions, and of course, we also know that superstitions are much broader than just Halloween. But we want to talk a little bit about why superstitions are universal and why they make sense to our brains to have them in the first place, and then there's some positive aspects of having a superstition and some negative aspects of having a superstition. And we want to talk about those as well. And then, if we're lucky, I'm going to sneak in a little bit of a musical reference here. If we can. if
did you wear your lucky socks today in order to get that musical reference in there? Or is it your lucky shirt? Is it what is this? There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So first off, Halloween is not necessarily universal, but superstitions are. Is that correct?
Yeah. Halloween's celebrated in a lot of countries around the world. It surprises me
more than it used to be, but it's still it's not but yes. So I think there's an interesting aspect of this, right? So you think about, all right, what are some of the superstitions around Halloween? Black cats.
What about black cats? What's wrong with black cats?
They're unlucky. Like a black cat crosses your path. That's bad luck, right?
Oh, it's bad luck. Yeah.
It's kind of like the 7 years of bad luck if you break a mirror. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's another one. Or walking underneath a ladder. You never walk underneath a ladder. Particularly on Halloween, where they're, having orange paint and painting your house orange.
I never understood why walking under a ladder would be bad luck. I just never made any sense to me. Okay.
Well, because people are going to drop paint on you. It's not bad. I mean,
okay. Well, and then what about just general superstitions like knocking on wood to
avoid bad things, right? Yeah, I don't want that to happen to me. There's a great song like "Knock on Wood," right?
Knock on wood. Yeah.
No, I've never had to knock on wood. Whole different genre. There you go. But what else? Like avoid 13, the unlucky number 13, right?
Yeah. Carrying around fuzzy toy animals as a good luck charm.
You mean like feet of dead rabbits? Is that what you're talking
about? The rabbit foot thing is a particular thing, but I've seen a lot of like high school students carrying around these little furry animals, and so I'm expecting there's some element of superstition involved in that. But you mentioned lucky socks. You are a lucky socks guy. You wear lucky socks to Timberwolves games.
I wear lucky socks to Timberwolves games. I wear socks that say, "Hey, they have Einstein on them," and they say, "You are smart," or "I am smart" on them. So,
and you're hoping it will prime you
to think that I am smart. So there you go. There's superstition there, right? Some science backed by that, but we'll go with the superstition. So
yeah. Oh, okay. So what is a superstition, Kurt? How do scientists think about superstition?
Well, according to the American Heritage Dictionary, right?
Okay, let's start there.
All right. Superstition is defined as, I'm going to read this, beliefs that are inconsistent with the known laws of nature or with what is generally considered rational in a society. So,
okay,
it is.
I like that.
I like that. That's mine. How would you describe? Would you describe it differently?
Well, a couple of French researchers. So this is popular enough to research in France, just to let you know. Eva Delacroix and Gaillard Valliere They say that superstition can be defined as beliefs or practices without scientific or religious foundation in which external events or objects are believed to bring good or bad luck. So it's basically something that exists outside of the field of science that we still think correlates to some specific
I,
event or object.
but it's outside of religious foundation as well. That's very interesting. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
which
yeah,
kind of doesn't
uh,
make sense to me. Like,
no, it doesn't.
why would organized religion get a pass on that?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
don't know.
My yeah. Anyway, all right. So okay, so that is that superstition. But why, Tim? Why do you think we have superstition? Why is this a universal concept? What is it about superstitions that make them like people believe them, that they look for them, that they like
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock on wood, or I'm gonna stay away from the number 13, or I'm not gonna walk underneath that ladder when they're painting, or the black cat crossing my path.
Well, it
Why,
starts
Tim?
with,
Why?
well, Dr. Nelson, I think the answer starts with ignorance. And I don't mean that in a pejorative way or a mean way, but ignorance in the broad spectrum of not knowing, of being in a state of not knowing, is when we don't know what the actual reason is, which could be randomness, by the way, why something is happening. It's our mind filling in the blanks for what we don't know,
Mm,
basically. I think that that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that fear of the unknown.
yeah.
Is when things happen that don't automatically make sense to us, our brain wants to have a reason. We are reason seeking machines. And so our brain wants to have a reason. So we're we're automatically a little bit afraid of, well, I didn't easily see a reason why that happened to me. So there must be a reason. Like there's this
And
mythology of there must be a reason.
we want to have control. We want to have that component of control, and
Yeah.
by evoking these different superstitions around luck, we can maybe control those things. Like we don't want bad things to happen to us that are just random. So instead of just thinking that they are random, that there is some control. Thus, if I stay away from black cats, if I stay away from walking under ladders, then I have some control, imaginary or otherwise, over my
Right.
life, right?
Right. Right. And yet there's also this desire to believe in supernatural things.
Hmm.
Something like 46 to 70% of all people believe in ghosts.
What?
And so, yeah, there's a large percentage of people that
Ooh.
back
Well,
back
there's
to
a
the
ghost
sound
in the
effects
show.
department.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that ghost in the show? I could see why. Oh
I
my
didn't.
god.
It must be a very scary ghost because I'm not seeing it in your office. So that's pretty. That is really
It's
scary.
right on the other side of the camera staring at me, and it's very scary. Yes.
Uh, yeah, but and then lastly, there's this kind of getting back to the state of unknowing is that we mistakenly attribute. Causation to things that are really just correlated, sort of like the way shark attacks and ice cream sales peak and decline the same way every year. Yeah, did you ever think about that? Shark attacks,
So ice creams cause shark attacks, or
exactly,
or or
or
or, or
or
what?
shark attacks are causing increases in ice cream sales.
It's because everybody's so scared they need some comfort food.
So there is like extremely high correlation between these two things, but reality is they're unrelated. And
Yeah.
so our brains will put together that correlation and go, "Oh, that must be the cause," when
Well,
that is probably not the cause.
right, and so there's been research on this, right? So research,
Yes.
Stuart Weiss, and different pieces of that the superstitions are really those attempts to cope with uncertainty in a world that we can't control, and so that is a huge
Right.
component of it. And I think we kind of talked about that. So, are superstitions bad? I mean, should we I mean, is this something that we really should care about because they're doing bad things to us?
Well, there's some benefits and there are some costs to it, right? There are some things that are sort of downsides to them, but and if we start with the bad stuff, they superstitions are shown to increase stress. It it's likely that people who are superstitious are more, have more stress in their lives. Giora Keenan's research says that the frequency of magical thinking and superstitious behavior increases under conditions of stress. So if you're in a stressful environment, you're also more likely to kind of go for, oh, there must be some kind of magic behind this. This couldn't be
Mm,
normal or random or anything that exists in the regular world. This is something outside. It's paranormal, and that can get in our way. That increases our stress.
yeah.
The-
And I think, that obviously there's a correlational component, maybe not causation, but still that idea that maybe those folks who are feeling that more stress, you kind of have that's a response mechanism, is what I'm hearing you say, right?
yes, yeah,
That
very much so.
we have to figure out a way that I can, rationalize away why I'm feeling this. Well, it's because, black cat walked across my path and therefore something bad is going to happen to me. And so now
Right.
I'm worried about it. Or is that it? Is there a causal component of it too? That
There's
if one of
both
those
sides.
negative factors, like I stepped on a crack, is my mom's back going to break now? And am I stressed about that? Right. So,
Well, right. And ironically, superstitious rituals, when they're intended to sort of manage anxiety or uncertainty, can actually be the cause of stress. So
oh no.
they so they can kind of work against you. But there are some benefits to
Okay. Let's hear
superstitions as
about the
well.
benefits. What are the benefits?
Well, I think one of the best things, of course, is one of your favorite things is that it actually can increase performance. How about that?
What?
Yeah, research in sports, right? The sports arena is a great testament to all these superstitions can actually add up to something that contributes positively to our to the athlete's ability to perform. And
Because I went through this, Richard. It's the was it Major League where the Haitian guy had to have his special, luck charms, and then he did. He would hit a home run, but if something was
exactly.
bad when he went in a slump, it was because he lost that. Or wearing the women's underwear as the pitcher, or various different pieces, right? So you have
Yeah.
all of those pieces, I think, that do. And it's an interesting psychological concept, because there's the if I have belief that I can do something, whether that belief is from, hey, the experience that I've had, I have known in the past I was able to do this, or if it's a belief because there is some magical component in these socks that I'm wearing, or the underwear that I'm wearing, or the ritual that I go through,
Mhm.
then it still doesn't matter from our brain responds. Our brain is responding, basically saying, I have a belief. And
Yep.
thus you're going to probably look at those things and respond differently. So,
Yeah, and relatively speaking, it's what's considered a cheap ritual. It's not costly, right, to do whatever, practice whatever superstition you think you have
I
to
don't know.
do.
Some of that underwear can get expensive, man. So,
But it's relatively speaking, it's a cheap ritual. So there's sort of this aspect of, well, why not, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, and in fact, there's an American researcher named Damish, and she found that research on 4 out of 5 professional athletes engage in at least one pregame ritual intended to
At,
boost performance. At
at
least
least.
one. Yeah,
Wow.
crazy,
Wow,
isn't it?
that's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I think we've covered universality. We've covered some of the reasons why. We've covered pros and cons. I think you had mentioned something about music. What was some music? So if I listen to music, I'm more superstitious. Is that how that works, or is that
I'm
how?
going. I'm going for 1972 Stevie Wonder here. This is the song that he wrote called Superstitious. This is the connectivity here. And by the way, this song was released in 1972, and it was Stevie Wonder's 15th 1-5 studio record. Now that might not seem like such a remarkable thing. Like, okay, so he released 15 albums. But in 1972, Stevie was only 22 years old. So by the time he was 22, he released 15 studio albums. I mean, the guy was amazingly prolific and successful from a very early age. So I just want to call out Stevie Wonder for that. But the song "Superstitious," if you haven't heard it, it's got this fantastic clavinova hook that you're going to absolutely recognize right off the bat as soon as you hear it, because it's so memorable. But as in many things, as the artist, as the sight into the world that we don't often call attention to, Stevie Wonder writes in the lyrics some fantastic wisdom. He says in the lyrics of the song "Superstition," "When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you will suffer. Superstition ain't the way." I think we can end it there.
Nice. Nice. And with that, let's do our superstitious ritual of ending everything with a rap.
Yeah, so it's a paradox, right? Superstitions reveal both our cognitive limitations and our adaptive brilliance, because we've figured out how to get along with things that we don't understand. It is a pretty terrific thing. And it shows us that our brain would rather make occasional errors than miss a potentially life-saving pattern, too.
Yeah, I love that part, and I think it also demonstrates how we unconsciously negotiate with uncertainty. Right? This idea that these aren't necessarily rational thoughts. Oh, I'm going to, not think that black cats in correlation to negative pieces. These happen at a level of our subconscious all the time. So our unconscious is negotiating with uncertainty using tools that shouldn't work, but sometimes just because they change how we work, it's like, oh, I saw that black cat, so I'm going to be more careful. And then you go, oh, there's a banana in the sidewalk. I could have fallen on that, but now I was paying attention. By the
Because
way,
of the
I saw, I'm sorry, changing topic. There was a
Okay.
banana on the sidewalk the other day, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, why, like, how does that make it more slippery than any other something on a sidewalk? Why is that the one, like, oh, there's a banana peel, I'm going to now slip and slide? Like, that doesn't make any more than like potato peels or what, orange peels. I mean,
Or magnolia flowers. Magnolia flowers are the slipperiest thing I've ever walked on. Just FYI. Yep.
okay.
The
All right.
petals of magnolia. All right. So, but in what you're saying there, Kurt, though, is that there is a double-edged sword on this. They
I
are.
wasn't saying that, but that's what we can go with. Yeah. Okay.
We're going to go with that because it's possible that in small doses, superstition might keep you safe, but it could also add stress to your life.
Yeah, and I think that's actually I will. So yes, that is absolutely true.
Okay.
And I think it's really interesting because it could be, as we move into domains of AI, um, predictions and ambiguous futures, and we may see new forms of superstition, rational superstitions emerge. These algorithmic predictions that say, "Oh, here it is." So I think that could be an interesting thing to look out for. Yeah,
That's a really interesting idea to think about AI having access to all this. The large language models have access to all of the same content.
they
Could
already hallucinate, right? They already make shit up, so they might be making up more superstitions. Maybe it has its
wow,
own superstition. There you go. If we
that's
think
pretty
of
wild.
AI as a thinking kind of conscious component of,
Which I'm not there yet.
yeah,
Just
me neither. There we
yeah,
go.
yeah. So I would want to encourage listeners to think about what's the rational sort of being willing to apply a more rational model to your life if you've got some of these superstitions that you're paying attention to, or especially if they're adding stress to your life, think about sort of a more rational side and be curious. Ask yourself why you're doing the ritual. What else could you be doing to address the same situation? And you don't even have to come up with a reason. Just go, why am I thinking about it this way? I think
Yeah.
that might be something to do.
So when you hear those ghostly oohs in your podcast, go, is that really a ghost, or is it just Kurt making some noise? And
Yeah.
I think you'll probably realize that no, it's a real ghost, and you should be scared. Um, and always listen to behavioral grooves, otherwise that ghost will come after you. See, that's
Look
how that
out.
works.
Look
Yeah.
out.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, we hope that you take that advice. And I think there's some real good advice there of just examine those rituals, examine those beliefs about why do we do this. And we hope that this information about superstitions can help you this spooky week as you go out and find your groove.